Barakateh Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Beware, ... as in poetry, inside joke. But pretty much this is going to be something I was meditating on earlier. And sometimes, you tend to overlook certain things because when you don't directly see something happening, you don't think that it's lurking around. When you don't see suspicious activity, you don't think that it's around. You don't think about it all the time. Just think about it sometimes. And if you don't see it happening, most people dismiss it, as you being paranoid or whatever the case may be. And what I'm talking about is spies. So beware. And what does it mean to beware? Be cautious and alert to the dangers of, because you have spies lurking, everywhere. And they've been around since the beginning of time. Right now, as we speak, during the time of slavery, you had spies among the Sambos, sellouts, and all of that. And I just learned a new term known as manumission certificate, which was pretty much, so-called like the Emancipation Proclamation, to where they so-called promised freedom to the slaves if they, gave information that led to the dissolving or stopping of slave revolts. And this was really pushed hard after the Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, and all of them era, of slave rebellions or uprisings. So where I got that definition from, or that term from, is this video that came up in my feed. And once this came up in my feed a little while ago, I said, you know what, that's the spirit for me to do this lesson, because I've been meditating on this. I know earlier today I was meditating on it. I'm not sure if I was meditating on it earlier this week, but every once in a while we do lessons, and warn you about these infiltrators, these spies. And the name of the video, this is called From Flag Bearer. It's called Ghetto Informant Program, which is an acronym. Well, or actually it's a term and the acronym for it is known as GIP. And GIP stands for Ghetto Informant Program. And pretty much this has been going on since, the slaves were brought here to the Americas. And I'm sure that the so-called Spaniards and others had something similar to this among, the Northern Kingdom. And this is Ghetto Informant Program. FBI recruited thousands to spy on black organizations. You see? And they're trying to spy. And the thing about it with these devils, they don't play fair. So if they say they send somebody in to spy, and they say that everything is cool, and there's nothing, amiss, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing out of place, there's no crimes being committed, what do they do with these informants and other agents, agent provocateurs, is they make them, to get involved in that group and then cause some mischief to happen to justify them being able to roll, on whatever organization is out there. Now, this is, manumission certificate. You could look it up. It says, what is a manumission document? And the manumission was pretty much the last name of these two Spaniards that were called, that this certificate was called after. I forget their first names. It says, manumissions and emancipations were legal documents that made official the act of setting a black person free from slavery by a living or deceased slaveholder. And pretty much, as the woman in this that's narrating this video brought out, it was given to those slaves that would give information. I'm just merely paraphrasing what she said. Pretty much given to those slaves that were pretty much giving information that would lead to the stopping of these slave revolts. Now whether or not Esau, went through with it or not, we don't know, but we know one thing about these devils. They don't keep true to their word. Psalms 55 and 21, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn sword. That's not the one. I believe there's another one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, here it goes, 20th verse. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. That's the one. So he doesn't keep to his word. He's not a man of his word. All right. So the other term which we are going to deal with is the term Ghetto Informant Program, which we have here, Ghetto Informant Program, or otherwise known as GIP in certain circles. The Ghetto Informant Program, GIP, was an intelligence gathering, operation run by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, from 1967 to 1973. It says its official purpose was to collect information pertaining to riots and civil unrest. Through GIP, the FBI used more than 7,000 people to infiltrate poor black communities in the United States. So don't think for 1 minute that these devils, are not, using the same tactics today. COINTELPRO terminology is gone, but the tactics are far from gone. When one thing is found out or dissolved, they just move it into another area, call it something else. Just like when you have a business that goes bankrupt, they dissolve that name and they come back doing the same type of business under another name, another corporation. Background. After the Watts riots of 1965 and further unrest in Newark and Detroit in the summer of 1967, the U.S. government mobilized to prepare for urban conflict. Its actions range from and they kind of brought this out somewhat in the movie The Spook Who Sat Behind the Door, when Carstairs, they had this meeting with I forget if he was the mayor or whatever he was, and he was telling them that they had to do something, and he said the Subversion Act of the 1950s, or the 1950 Subversion Act, concentration camps, detention centers, when you watch the movie, these things have all been in place. All these infiltration techniques and methods and different, situations to round up Jake, and the poor into these, places has always been around. It's just that they need the right, crisis in order to put it all together. And they're coming to that point now. It says its actions range from commissioning a report by the Civilian Kerner Commission to mobilizing the army to prepare for martial law in American cities. See? So they've been preparing for this. Everything is in place, and now more than ever, people are chafed, they're restless, and anything at a trigger here can set everything off. It says the order for GIP program came in a letter from Attorney General Ramsey Clark to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Clark wrote, "We have not heretofore had to deal with the possibility of an organized pattern of violence constituting a violation of federal law by a group of persons who make the urban ghetto their base of operation and whose activities may not have been regularly monitored by existing intelligence sources." Because pretty much when Jake gets together, they get together as a unity thing, to try to see what we can do to better ourselves. In the case of the Israelites, it's about, bringing out the knowledge and finding out who we are, the things that have happened to us, why we in the conditions that we're in, and what the ultimate goal is, and that is to wait on the Lord to come and deliver us. So that for the most part, they're not going to find any violence unless they, set it up to be so. And this is where you get your agent provocateurs in, and you could, you could look the word up, agent provocateur, so you could understand what that term means. It says, and as a part of the broad investigation, which must necessarily be conducted, sources or informants in black nationalist organizations, see, SNCC, and other less publicized groups should be developed and expanded to determine the size and purpose of these groups. See, so all they're doing is what? Infiltrating to determine the size and purpose of these groups. And it's all about information. When you see your vocabs and these devils like that asking questions, well, I'm just trying to understand because I really want to be able to know the truth because I want to know the history so I can know it for myself. For what? What is so why are you so interested in the Israelites? What is your big interest in the Israelites? The main message to you is you're going into slavery. You're an Edomite. So what is your heart on to get all this information from the Israelites? Is to categorize it all. Like it says, in the book of, like it says in the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, where it speaks about the accuser of thy brethren. And when you look up that word accuser, what the word there is kategoreo. And the word kategoreo means to put into categories, pretty much for the purpose of accusing. That's pretty much what it's all about. It says in their relationship to other groups, and also to determine the whereabouts of persons who might be involved in instigating riot activity in violation of federal law. And they know that that's not the case, but they have to make things happen. The GIP coincides with COINTELPRO Black Hate. The program targeted at those likely to have information about ghetto happenings. Thus, according to an interest memo, it included people such as the proprietor of a candy store or barbershop in the ghetto area. These informants were listening posts, see? So you have individuals that infiltrate just to listen, to hear what you're talking about, to try to entrap you in your words. Sound familiar? Individuals that infiltrate just to listen, to hear what you're talking about, to try to entrap you in your words. Sound familiar? Individuals that infiltrate just to listen, to hear what you're talking about, to try to entrap you in your words. Sound familiar? Right? So it says tools for blanket surveillance of a community or area. GIP operated with no oversight from courts or Congress. Informants monitored key black extremists such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Floyd McKissick, Huey Newton, and more. One of the first major projects involving the GIP was Operation Pokem, the FBI's effort to monitor and disrupt the 1968 Poor People's Campaign. Informants were later asked to report on Afro-American bookstores and investigate the existence of subversive literature. Salakia. At least 67 informants were members of the Black Panther Party, BPP, tasked with spreading what? So these 67 informants that infiltrated the Black Panther Party, at least, so they said there was more than that, tasked with spreading disinformation, as well as sending reports to the FBI. See, so what was their whole job? Spreading disinformation, because they were trying to disrupt these groups because they don't want Jake to come together. Although Jake was coming together, with the wrong breath, as it speaks about in Ezekiel 37, they were coming together with the wrong breath. But the thing was that the bone was coming together with his bone. Ezekiel 37:7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise. And what was that noise? That was, the commonality of the strife and the hell and the oppression that Jake was going through, and they wanted to come to a conclusion and find out what was going on. This caused Judah to come together. It intrigued Gad and intrigued, Ephraim, Issachar, and others. And behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone towards bone, right? Because they came together in a union, right? And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and flesh came upon them, right? Because it was about black power or Latino power or Native American Indian power, the fight of the people, la raza, and all that, right? It says bone to his bone, all right? And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, right? Because they had an identity. It says, and the skin covered them above, right? Because they came together as a people, but there was no breath in them because they didn't have the truth. They had, they had the, it just was in my mind. They had the common, symptoms of oppression, but they didn't have the solution, which is the truth. But the truth was out there back then. But it just wasn't as, as famous, so to speak, as it is now. All right, so it says they're tasked with spreading disinformation as well as sending reports to the FBI. Recent disclosure have suggested that photographer Ernest Withers was a paid informant under the GIP, right? And this guy, Ernest Withers, he was the individual that documented, with pictures and all that, all different types of photos, the whole civil rights movement. And he was one that was sitting in with a lot of these leaders, in their meetings and hearing about what was going on, so they're saying that he was also a paid FBI informant, which is not far-fetched, so the point is that you're going to have spies. The main scripture we usually go to is Galatians 2 and 4, which is, this is dealing with the wicked Pharisees and them infiltrating, the Israelite foreigners, right? It says in that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty, which we have in Yahushai, that they might bring us into bondage, right? Because they were trying to bring the Israelite foreigners back under the bondage of the law, when they were already set free by the grace and the faith of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But the point is that they were spies. They were spying out. Let's look up this word spy, or spy out. Let's see what spy out. The word there is kataskopeo. It's through scoping. Kataskopeo. This is another word. Scopeo is the word mark in the book of Revelation 16. Mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine. It's a scopeo. Put a scope on them. Keep an eye on them. When the Apostle Paul spoke about Alexander the coppersmith that did him much evil, he said, of whom also beware of. Right? So here you got to inspect, view closely in order to spy out and plot against. So these individuals are sent to infiltrate groups, get in aware of. Right? So here you got to inspect, view closely in order to spy out and plot against. So these individuals are sent to infiltrate groups, get in close with brothers to extract information out of brothers so that they can go back and report. They can give a report, inside joke. So let's go from there. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 13. And it says, a talebearer revealeth secrets. See, that's what they do. See, and they think that with the Israelites, they think that we get together, we're on the streets, we, curse Esau or whatever the case may be. And then afterwards we go, we're plotting all kinds of, that's bullshit. Whatever you see us speaking about on the streets, that's what we speak about amongst each other. All right. I know it's hard for you to believe, but that's what it is. And any brother that has ever been around us, whether they're spies or not, can tell you the same exact thing. That all we talk about is the truth, or we may talk about some carnal stuff, music, sports, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, we speak about the truth, the kingdom, things that are coming, the downfall of this devil. Hopefully the Lord brings them down soon, you know. Yep, them Donnie Brasco as Israelites, yep. So a talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. You know, and the thing is, there's nothing to reveal. But when I looked up this word talebearer just to get a better, you know, understanding of it, which the word is halak, which means to, well, actually, that's not the one. Halak just means to go. The word not revealeth either. The word is rakayal, which the word rakayal simply means slander, slanderer, talebearer, but it also means what? Informer. You know, informer. So they're informers. And they spy out secrets to what? So that they can go back and tell that to their master, the devil. You know? So let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's see. First, let's go to the 11th chapter. And let's go to the 29th verse first. And we're going to read down. It says, bring not every man into thine house. This is why you can't bring all them ninjas in your house, man. You don't know who these guys are. If you don't trust a dude, if you don't know a dude, they shouldn't be in your house. This knowledge is supposed to teach us knowledge, wisdom, understanding, discernment, you know, vigilance. You just can't bring anybody in your house. You got all slimy, grimy dude, you know, that he, you know, he say shalom to you, and all of a sudden you bring him in your house, and you know, you don't know where the hell this guy is, who he is, what he's about. He hasn't proven himself, and even if he did, sometimes you still got to look at dudes sideways. The scripture say, accept no man against thy soul. If a guy is, you know, just something about him just don't feel right, follow the spirit, listen to the spirit. Don't act on it, just wait. And eventually, if he ain't right, it's going to be revealed. The scriptures say, accept no man against thy soul. It says, for the deceitful man hath many trains, many thoughts. His heart is deep, because he's constantly looking on how to trap you up. This is what these wicked Pharisees and them were trying to do to Yahushua. When we go to Luke, chapter 20. Let's go to 19. It says, and the chief priests and the scribes the same hour sought to lay hands on him, and they feared the people, for they perceived that he had spoken this parable against them, because he was cursing them out. And they watched him. See? Spies, onlookers, you know, in the midst of everything, in the midst of everybody, listening, paying attention, asking questions, trying to get words out of you, trying to trap you up in your words, which should feign themselves just men. And this word spies should go back to the same. Well, no, this one is actually different. Spies here is enkathetos, secretly to lie in wait. See, a spy, one who is bribed by others to entrap a man by crafty words. And that's what they do. You know, they try to subliminally say certain things or try to extract information out of you so that they can get your secrets out of you, so they can go and report that. But the thing is, you ain't gonna get nothing here. You're wasting your time. You know? It says, and they watch him and send forth spies which should feign themselves just men. The word feign is what? To be a phony. To be a phony, a hypocrite. Hypocrinomai, which is a hypocrite. To take up another statement in reference to what one has decided for oneself, to reply answer, to make answer, to impersonate anyone, which is what? A hypocrite. Play a part. Actor. Hypocrite. To simulate, feign, pretend. Yep, that's a good one too, because the Frumentarii, yep, they were spies for the Romans, or an ancient Roman military organization used as an intelligence agency. And what these guys would do is they would sit and, you know, walk around, and they would, you know, hear and act like they just regular dudes. They just listen and they say certain things to try to invoke you to, say certain things, thinking, oh, this dude's all right, man. He don't like the Roman. Oh yeah, well, you know what? We plan on, blah, 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 And next thing you know, he got you by the bowels. Says they began their history as a courier service and developed into an imperial spying agency. And this was an ancient FBI, CIA, so on and so forth. All right. Check that out. It says that courier service and developed into an imperial spying agency. And this was an ancient FBI, CIA, so on and so forth. And next thing you know, he got you by the bowels. Says they began their history as a courier service and developed into an imperial spying agency. And this was an ancient FBI, CIA, so on and so forth. All right. Check that out. It says the agency would also carry out assassinations. All right. Yep, this is good. This is a good one. It says Ecclesiasticus 6 and 7, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. That's right. So let's go back. So let's read this again. And they watched him and sent forth spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they might take hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. And it's all about, giving brothers over to the man. Remember, they shall be as madmen sparing none. They're trying to bring brothers over to the man of the governor. And it's all about, giving brothers over to the man. Remember, they shall be as madmen might take hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. And it's all about, giving brothers over to the man. Remember, they shall be as madmen sparing none. They're trying to bring brothers over to the man, to the authority of the man. So back in Ecclesiastes 11 and 29, but bring not every man to thine house, for the deceitful man hath many trains, like as a partridge taken and kept in a cage, so is the heart of the proud. And like as a spy watcheth he for what? For thy fall. And that's the job of a spy, to bring down an organization from within. So is the heart of the proud. And like as a spy watcheth he for what? For thy fall. And that's the job of a spy, to bring down an organization from. So is the heart of the proud. And like as a spy watcheth he for what? For thy fall. And that's the job of a spy, to bring down an organization from within. So that's where you got to watch these ninjas. Every brother ain't a brother. It says, for he lieth in wait and turneth good into evil. See, he lieth in wait, and that's what a spy does. He's laying there. He infiltrates. He does good deeds. Oh, brother, I got you. You need what you need. You need that. I got, want me to do that? I take care of that or what, But he's all along lying in wait, trying to catch your words, and turneth good into evil. Because a lot of these spies are doubled down as agent provocateurs. And in this thing, and in things worthy praise, will lay blame upon thee. See? Because it's all about infiltrating to lay blame on brothers. That's what the scriptures say, that the ministry be not blamed. So you have to wonder, with these guys out there, holding camp with all these, military style guns and all that, what are they trying to prove? But what that does, that paints a narrative as everybody's packing. All the Israelites are packing. You see these guys? See over here, this is just an open carry state. But you have other guys in other states, that's not an open carry state. So how do we know they don't have guns, under in their waist or whatever the case may be? And it paints a negative narrative on the rest of Israel. And the scriptures speak about the ministry not being blamed. It says, of a spark of fire, a heap of coals is kindled. Right, so a heap of coals, a big ass heap of coals, all it takes is a little spark of a fire, and eventually all of that coal will go up. And a sinful man layeth wait for blood. You see? Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness. Lest he burn fire, and eventually all of that coal will go up. And a sinful man layeth wait for blood. You see? Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness. Lest he bring upon thee a perpetual blot. Receive a stranger into thine house, and he will disturb thee and turn thee out of thine own. Now let's go from there to the book of Ecclesiasticus, the same chapter. Let's go to the 8th chapter. I'm sorry, the same book. Let's go to the 8th chapter and the 18th verse. It says, do no secret thing before a stranger. You know, he don't need to know everything that you do. You know, and of course we ain't doing nothing, wicked, but you just can't you can't have these individuals around you like that.
Some of us don't even get privacy at all, so can't even be helped.
Cause they haven't been proven, and even if they have, you still have to, kind of watch. For thou knowest not what he will bring forth. Open not thine heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn. Right. And you can't tell, sometimes you might be going through things. You can't tell everybody, you can't blab your mouth to everybody of things that you're going through. Because some individuals will use that against you. You got to keep your mouth. Scriptures even speak about when you have a counselor, have one counselor among 1,000. There's only certain individuals you should really, and really shouldn't even go that deep. But if you do, your circle should be very small of who you tell certain things to. Because you never know that the individual turn around and use that against you. You got to be careful out there, man. All right, so let's go to Sirach 13, Ecclesiastes 13 and 10. And it says, press thou not upon him. This is dealing with what is it? It's I'm not sure if it said a mean man, a rich man. I saw a rich man up there. Okay, a mighty man. All right. Mighty man. Press down not upon him, lest thou be put back. Stand not far off, lest thou be forgotten. Affect not to be made equal unto him in talk, and believe not his many words. You see? For with much communication will he tempt thee, and smiling upon thee will get out thy secrets. You gotta watch these dudes that's always flattering, always willing to, I'll do it, brother. I'll do this. You gotta wonder what their intentions are. Watch the movie Braveheart. What happened in the movie Braveheart? That one individual came out, he gave all his flattery, my wife did this for you and you great man and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And then Stephen came up rough. Is this William Wallace? It can't be. I'm prettier than this man. He takes the ladle, and he eats the stew out of the, all rough. And, he just came, and everybody looking at him like, who the fuck is this guy? But turns out that the one that was doing all the flattering was the wicked one. And he, which just came and being himself, he happened to be the righteous one. Think about it. It says, but cruelly he will lay up thy words. So get your secrets out and lay up your words, and will not spare to do thee hurt and put thee in prison, because you have a lot of infiltrators out there. You have a lot of spies, so beware. And there's one more precept. Let's see what this one says. And we can close it out with that. This is Proverbs chapter 20. Let's see what this one says. In verse 19. It says, he that goeth about as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips. Beautiful. That went right on, perfect. You got to watch out for them guys that flatter with their lips. Don't meddle with them. Always giving all these flattering titles and flattering shit, and fuck them. It says Proverbs 27 and 6, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. God damn. Yep, this is a good one too. Proverbs 21:23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Yep. That's right. That's right. Yep. Like the brother said, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. In that context, right? Because that was in somebody. Well, that was talking about when you're doing alms. Yeah. But you apply, use wisdom. Apply wisdom. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand's doing. Just like it says, don't tell your woman everything. Keep thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. You got to apply wisdom. But according to some nuts out there, if you apply wisdom, if you're wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, you're a coward. Some guys are just thick. The prison mentality, false prophets. That's what they are. But anyway, with that, beware. Lord's will, you were edified. And to the next time I say shalom.